Hi everyone, I'm Arun Malve and welcome back to gudshuis. Welcome back, HomeLab enthusiast. If you've been dreaming of building a Kubernetes cluster from scratch, you are in the right place. In our last video, we introduced Proxmox and Kubernetes, two tech titans for HomeLab. Today, we are getting our hands dirty. We'll break it down step by step from connecting to the internet to deploying to the Kubernetes pods. And yes, we'll have some laugh along the way to stick around till the end. Let's dive in. If you're enjoying this tutorial so far and learning something new, take a quick moment to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell icon. I'm back on the draw.io page. Added the page with the Proxmox Kubernetes at the bottom left corner, and I've added the icon logo for the internet. Internet is the oxygen for our Kubernetes cluster. Without it, the cluster cannot pull images or contain images, connect APIs, or update itself. And let's be honest, who doesn't like things updated? Even Kubernetes get moody without its internet fix. There's also requirements for the bandwidth. When you don't need gigabit internet, a stable 50 megabyte is ideal for HomeLab, or you can also use like 10 Mbps speed as well, or lesser than that. So faster the speed, even better. It's like giving Kubernetes its morning coffee. There's also a few configuration like DNS networking. Make sure your router provides proper DNS. Let's add the router icon or the logo, and it's like a phone book for Kubernetes, helping it find services and container images. So it should have a network stability, flaky connections with a bad idea, I would say. Imagine Kubernetes losing connection while pulling images. It's like your Netflix buffering during a movie climax. Highlighting few things with the router, it's like a role in the HomeLab server. Think of a router as a traffic cop of your network. It directs data to the right destination, whether it's your Kubernetes cluster or your fridge, asking for a firmware update. Yes, that's right thing. Dynamic IP, routing typical assigning IP address dynamically using DHCP. But for Kubernetes, static IP are better. But we have a mixture of DHCP and static IP within our HomeLab server, like your favorite playlist. Firewall settings. Enable firewall to keep the cluster safe from rogue traffic, hackers, unattended home labs. Also looking for port forwarding for external access to the Kubernetes service. Configure port forwarding. It's like giving the outside world a window into your home labs. So raise your hands if you have ever accidentally forwarded the wrong port and panicked. Let's hear your stories in the comments below. So adding the 1 gigabit switch. So the purpose of the switch here is connecting on all devices at lightning speed. With 1 gigabit switch, your Kubernetes nodes can gossip faster than your neighborhood WhatsApp group. And it will reduce latency. Low latency equal to faster pod-to-pod communication. It's like having a conversation without lag, smooth and instant. And you can also set up VLAN to segment your network. Anyone here already using a switch for their home lab? Tell us your steps in the comments below. For data, keeping everything following smoothly between the Dell PC and Proxmox, with gigabit speed, you would get low latency. This means Kubernetes nodes talk to each other faster than you can say orchestration. VLAN support allows you to segment your network. Let's take an example. One VLAN for Kubernetes, another for your Netflix Bing watching. Just an example. So let's moving on to the next section, adding the Dell Optiplex 7060 micro PC. So let me add the logo here. And adding Trio is the perfect for running Kubernetes master and worker nodes. There are a few concepts and the beast, I would say. are perfect for the home lab. Silent, energy efficient, and powerful like a ninja programmer. Let me break down some of the hardware here and explain it a bit in detail of it once I add the 3 node factor or master and 2 worker nodes, I would say. In this mini PC, the specifications are something like this. Intel i5 with 85,000T processor with 16 GB RAM and 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. I am going to upgrade it from 16 GB to 32 GB. You can check out my next video, which I will be uploading it with how to upgrade the Dell Optiplex 7060 for SSD and the RAM. So the combination handles the Kubernetes workloads like a charm. It's because there are also expandable, SSD hard drive and the memory for the Dell Optiplex. So it goes to the maximum of 64 gigabyte of RAM, and also you can extend the SSD or the disk till 4 terabyte, I believe. So let me ask you a question, like what's your dream lab or your home lab setup? Share it below in the comments. And also Dell is powerful enough to handle multiple VMs or containers. So it supports virtualization like Proxmox. And check out my other video which I have created with the series of the HomeLab with the USB boot drive. So let me adjust the arrow properly in the right direction. If you're using Proxmox first time or the first time user, don't worry. It's easier than assembling the IKEA furniture, trust me. Let me know your thoughts below. Let's move on to the next section. Let me add the Proxmox logo to this project. On adding on to the Proxmox installation and configuration. Why Proxmox? It's a lightweight, has intuitive web UI and supports both VM and containers. Also, it's an open source and it's free to use it. Proxmox is the hero, I would say, we didn't know we needed. And there is also, I've created the step-by-step video installation like boot from the USB, install Proxmox, configure disk, and set up networking. If you follow my video with step-by-step instructions, you will successfully install the Proxmox on PC. And also, we're going to configure the network bridge as well. Currently, we'll be using the default network bridge to connect VMs, but for the outside world, we need to have a separate network bridge for the virtualization. Think of it as a bridge between your home lab island and the internet mainland. If you are a first-time Proxmox user, welcome to the club. Seasoned user, share your favorite tips in the comments below. And let me add another arrow to add the laptop or the PC to virtually connect through an UI. Role of a laptop or a PC. Your laptop or a PC is the gateway to the Proxmox UI. It's like the control room from your home lab spaceship. One of the Proxmox is installed. Use the IP address of the Proxmox server to access the web interface. We're going to show that into our next videos, how to access the Proxmox from the browser based, so no clunky apps are needed. There is also a login interface and the dashboard overview within the Proxmox UI. So we're going to go step by step into the next videos and how the user-friendly interface looks like with all the tools you needed with the Proxmox. So let me add another logo, which is Proxmox Virtual Environment Setup. So this is something like configuring the Proxmox from the UI. If you haven't already, this makes it easy to remember and connect. This step is very critical, and this will help us to navigate few of the basic important information like how to list the data center and also nodes, how to utilize the center panel, show dedicated information about the VM, containers and storage, and exploring some of the settings. And it's like finding Easter egg in a video game. It's the pop quiz time. What's your favorite browser to use for these setups? Drop it in the comments below. I can give you some examples like Firefox, Chrome, Brave. Brave is my favorite. So what's yours? And also, trust me, you need to bookmark some of the URLs when you're working on these type of setups or browsing from the Google and making sure some URLs are beneficially for the lookbacks. And the last part is the Kubernetes logo. Let me add that. So adding the Kubernetes cluster to our environment and utilizing some of the kubeadmin init commands and working along it. So installing Kubernetes components like kubeadmin, kubectl, and kubelet, and initializing the cluster with the master node. Adding worker nodes to the cluster, deploying a sample application like Nginx. So we're going to follow few of the steps in our coming videos, so stay tuned. And moving forward, let me ask you a question. What's your first application you would like to deploy on the Kubernetes cluster once you have set up completely? So once the setup is completed, there are a few points which I like to share. It is like this whole HomeLab setup is the cost-effective and scalable, perfect for learning Kubernetes or cloud-native technologies, and also resilient with snapshots and backups. And we're going to increase our drive so that we don't miss out with any of the backups. Depending upon your feasibility, you can increase up to 4 terabyte or depending upon whichever size you are comfortable with. Real world experience with container orchestration. Experiment with new tools in a safe environment. Let me ask you a question like, what's your favorite advantage of using a HomeLab? Let me know in the comments below. So far, we have taken a whirlwind tour of setting up a Kubernetes cluster using Proxmox. This setup isn't just a jumble of tech, it's an orchestration of perfect tuned components. We started with the internet feeding into a router, then a switch for a fast networking, then 3 Dell Optiplex Mini PCs for compute power, and finally the magic of Proxmox and Kubernetes to tie it all together. So we have seen all these pieces fit into one role. So highlighting few of the things is internet and then router and then explanation on the 1 gigabit switch. Are you already using a switch in your setup? If yes, experience it in the comments below. And we have talked about the hardware using some of the Dell Optiplex Mini PC are small but mighty. And moving on to the Proxmox installation, it's a backbone of our setup and a lightweight hypervisor. And then we are into a laptop or PC and working on the browser with the Proxmox IP address. Boom, the Proxmox dashboard. You'll be able to see that with the IP address. And also we would be also exploring into Proxmox Virtualization setup. We'll be creating temporalization, save some hours of work, especially when scaling your Kubernetes nodes. So let me ask you a question. What templates would you create when building the Kubernetes cluster? Congratulations, you would just build a professional grade Kubernetes cluster using Proxmox. Why is this setup awesome? Scalable and cost effective. Hands-on cloud native experience, with snapshots, backup, support for reliability. Remember, this is just a beginning. In future videos, we will explore adding persistent volumes, automation deployments, and more. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more HomeLab adventures. Have questions? Drop them below. I'll see you there. Until next time, keep building and keep learning. Find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to gudshuis. Stay tuned for more tech tips and tutorials. See you in the next one.